Hi. Welcome to welcome back to my countdown of the top 5 animated shows that need to be on DVD. Today's one is actually the runner-up. So it's very exciting because now we're into the runner-up, and yeah, this I will say before we get to the intro, I will say this is a very close runner-up. This one actually almost became number 1, and well, I'll get into that when I start talking about it. So with that being said, let's get to my runner-up, my number 2 choice. Welcome back. Yeah, that's right. My number 2 choice is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the animated series. Now this show I've always held special to me, and there's a reason why. Well, one thing, it was one of the very first cartoons, or animated shows, we're going to call it. One of the first shows, well actually yeah, one of the first shows to air on Fox Kids. When Fox Kids launched on September 8th of 1990, this was one of the first shows that premiered on Fox Kids. And the show ran for 2 seasons, 1990 to 1991, and then I think it re-aired like in reruns until 92. And then it was, I guess, taken off of TV, and it actually came back in 1996, and it came back to Fox Kids in reruns in 1996 for a couple months. I don't think it was very long. And actually, I remember when this show originally aired back in 1990, and then I remember when it came back in 1996. So this is one of, I guess you could say, the rare shows where actually I watched it when it was originally on, and then I watched a bit of it when it came back years later. Yeah, so it was only on Fox Kids for like a short time when it came back, and then it went over to the Fox Family Channel, which I can't really see too much about because where I live we never got the Fox Family Channel, and yeah, that's a whole different subject. But yeah, and I know it aired there, according to what I read, it aired there until 2000. So yeah, so it seems like it hasn't been seen on TV since 2000. I guess I could tell you what this show is about is, if you don't know the movies, what happens is these tomatoes are created by, I guess, Dr. Gangrene, who's he known here, but in the movie, he's known as, sorry for this, he's known, in the Return to Killer Tomatoes, he's known as, Dr. Mortimer Gangrene, or whatever. And yeah, so this movie is more based off the second movie than the first Killer Tomatoes movie, but even this, they actually changed some stuff from the second movie. Like for example, in the movie, if you've seen the movie, Chad and Tara become boyfriend and girlfriend in Return of the Killer Tomatoes, but in this one they just become really, really good friends. Yeah. And throughout the first season, they're trying to stop Dr. Gangrene from taking over the world with his tomato warriors, which is Zotan and I think his Furious 5 or something. and each episode's individually like a different story. Like there's not really no continuation except for Dr. Gangrene continuing trying to take over the world. Yeah, and then there's Uncle Wilbur who helps out. And and so that's basically the first season. Now, in the second season, and this is unfortunate, I think, where it actually went down. I don't remember too much about the second season. I think I remember a little bit, but not too much. In the second season, they actually did a lot of different things. They actually changed the whole format of the show for the second season. Instead of it being individual episodes, each episode was continue into each other. Like they basically had one entire storyline for the entire second season. That's one thing. Another thing is, in the first season, Tara, who was a tomato turned into a human. In the first season, the only time she'll be turned back into a tomato is if someone, I guess, put salt on her, or I'm not quite sure exactly how, but in the second season, she was able to turn a tomato without anybody doing anything, and also her being a tomato was known to everybody. So all of a sudden, she went from being nobody knowing her she was actually a tomato to everybody knows she's a tomato. And she was able to talk into her tomato form, which she was never able to do, not only in the movies but in the first season as well. And one of the things that I feel this is one of the reasons why this show should be at least getting recognized for this, is it was one of the first shows to use CGI. Now everybody remembers Reboot for being a fully CGI show, being the first CGI animated show. Well, before Reboot came out, they were using CGI in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the animated series. So yeah. And also another thing is, it basically went from being a comedy cartoon to a more serious cartoon, because at the beginning of the second episode, or the beginning of this the beginning of the second season, we find right away that all of a sudden the tomatoes have taken over the world, and Zoltron and his Furious Five have actually are not comedic like they were in the first season, but more serious and everything, and that causes Dr. Gangrene to actually team with the good guys. So he goes from being a bad guy to basically being someone forced to join the good guys, because I guess Zoltron and his team becomes major threats. And I think because of all these changes that happened in season 2, I think that's what caused it to be cancelled. I don't know if there was ever a resolution. I'm not quite sure if everything was resolved, but and also I think because them using CGI, it was costing a lot of money. Yeah. So yeah. So unfortunately, it only lasted 2 seasons. Yeah. So it's basically about them fighting tomatoes and whatever, and with all of the changes to season 2, I guess there's just too much changes that it eventually ends up getting cancelled because of that. I guess I could tell you how the show got started. Yeah, so I guess that's it. So I guess I'll tell you how the show actually got started is if anybody remembers the show The Muppet Babies, which ran throughout the 80s, the Muppet Babies used to use a lot of footage from different movies and stuff, and one of the episodes they did was they actually used footage from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the very first movie. And according to what I read, that movie proved to be so popular with fans that they decided, you know what, because this is so popular, let's make a sequel to the movie, which they did, Return of the Killer Tomatoes. And that movie itself became quite popular, and so because that movie became quite popular, that's how come they made the animated series. And so that's where that came from. And then some of the characters were later added into the third and fourth movie, which I've never seen. I've only seen clips of the third and fourth movie. But yeah. Um, what can I talk about? As far as some stuff that was released of it, there was some toys, but I think they're hard to find because I could barely find anything on them. There's some toys released for the show. There was one video game released for the Nintendo, which I don't have. So I would really like to get. Yeah. I was looking at some of my notes here. And I guess I could talk about the home video releases. So here's the home video releases. Nothing. This is the reason why it came to be a very close number one. Is because this show, as far as I know, I didn't find any information about it, but this show has never ever been released on any home video. Not VHS, not DVD, not even Laserdisc. So as far as I know, this show has never ever been released on any home video format. The only way people know it from is from remembering it from the airing on Fox Kids. Yeah, or you can find some episodes here on YouTube. I only have 2 episodes on my computer, and yeah. So yeah, this show is very, I guess you could say, hard to get a find. Yeah, so I really hope this show is released on DVD in the future. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's ever going to be released by itself. The reason I say that is because around the same time that this cartoon was airing, another cartoon was airing called Toxic Crusaders, which was a cartoon version of a movie franchise which I have no interest in seeing, other than the cartoon series, The Toxic Avenger. Now, like I said, I don't really have no interest in seeing that movie, but the thing is, if you want to get the complete series of The Toxic Crusaders, then you have to buy the box set that they released a couple years ago of all the Toxic Avengers movies, and one of the things that come with that box set is the complete series of the Toxic Crusaders. Yeah, and so unfortunately that's the only way we'll be able to get it. And like I said, I don't really have any interest of getting the movies. I just want the cartoon series, and unfortunately the cartoon series is not on this list. Well, one thing is already out on DVD, but another thing is I haven't seen too much of it, but yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But Attack the Killer Tomatoes, they can end up doing the same thing, releasing all 4 movies together with the cartoon series. And I wouldn't mind about that because I like the Attack the Killer Tomatoes and Return of the Killer Tomatoes, and I like the cartoon series, and I probably would like the 3rd one because I like what I've seen of the 3rd and 4th one. So if they do that, that'll be fine. And as far as if I like the movies better than the animated series, I would probably say I actually like the animated series better. Because I don't know, I do like the movies, nothing against the movies. It's just, I guess I just find it more enjoyable watching the cartoon series. Yeah. Like with what I remember seeing and with what I have seen more recently. Yeah, I'm just trying to look over my notes to see if I have anything else to talk about. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. John Astin, who played Dr. Mortimer Gangrene, which is the live person of Dr. Gangrene, actually is the only person from the movies, as far as I know, that actually plays him in the cartoon series. Yeah, so John Astin plays the main evil bad guy, at least for the first season. Who played the main bad guy in the live movie plays the main bad guy in the cartoon series. Okay, I don't really know what much to talk about. As far as people remembering this, I think maybe if you're old enough, you might remember this because, like I said, it was one of the first cartoons that aired on Fox Kids, and then it aired only for a couple months in '96, and then if you watched on Fox Family, I guess you can remember. You might remember from there. But other than that, yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think it should get released on DVD, because I don't think it's remembered a lot. Unlike the other 3 shows, I feel like this is the one that really people don't remember, and that's another reason why it's at number 2. that and it never being available on any home video. Yeah. I don't really know what to talk about. Yeah, and yeah, I just hope one day this show comes out on DVD. I don't know if it will. I could see it if it ever does. It's going to be with the other movies, which, like I said, would be fine. I would prefer it be on its own because I already have all 4 movies. Yeah. Yeah, I already have all 4 movies on DVD, and so. But like I said, if that's the only way that I could get it, I wouldn't mind buying the movies again. Because like I said, I do like the first 2, and with what I've seen of the second or the third and fourth one, I probably would like them as well, and so. Yeah. So I guess that'll be it. I can't really say too much more about it because there's really not much more. Yeah. So I guess that'll be it. And I want to thank everyone for watching this if they have. And yeah. So stay tuned because tomorrow is going to be my number 1 choice, which I'll say right now is I feel the most underrated animated series ever made. And I'll get into more of that tomorrow. So stay tuned, and thanks to whoever's watching for watching. So thanks and stay tuned. Bye.